Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer, a name synonymous with horror, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of humanity. His crimes, a grotesque tapestry of murder, cannibalism, and necrophilia, shocked the world and left an indelible stain on the American psyche. Dahmer's killing spree, spanning from 1978 to 1991, claimed the lives of 17 young men, each victim subjected to unspeakable acts of depravity. A quiet and withdrawn child, he displayed an early fascination with death, reportedly dissecting animal carcasses for amusement. By his early teens, Dahmer was grappling with repressed homosexual urges and a growing addiction to alcohol, factors that would later intertwine with his murderous compulsions. His first victim, a hitchhiker named Stephen Hicks, became an unwitting participant in Dahmer's twisted fantasies. Dahmer's modus operandi was chilling in its simplicity and depravity. He would often lure his victims, typically young men of color, back to his apartment with promises of money or alcohol. Once inside, Dahmer would drug their drinks, rendering them helpless before carrying out his gruesome rituals. His crimes went undetected for years, his ability to blend into society masking the monster within. Dahmer's apartment became a macabre theater of horrors, a place where his darkest fantasies played out. Dismembered bodies, preserved in jars filled with formaldehyde, served as grotesque trophies, a testament to his insatiable bloodlust. Dahmer's own chilling confessions, delivered in a detached and emotionless tone, provided a glimpse into the abyss of his psyche. What drove Jeffrey Dahmer to commit such unspeakable acts? It's a question that has haunted criminologists, psychologists, and the public alike for decades. While there is no single answer, experts point to a complex interplay of psychological factors, childhood experiences, and societal influences that coalesce to create one of America's most notorious serial killers. Some experts theorize that Dahmer's fascination with death stemmed from a childhood fascination with animal bones, which may have indicated an early disconnect between life and death. Dahmer's repressed homosexuality, a taboo subject in the 1960s and 70s, further compounded his inner turmoil, adding another layer to his psychological complexity. Alcohol played a significant role in fueling Dahmer's murderous urges, lowering his inhibitions and enabling his darkest impulses. Dahmer's crimes, far from being random acts of violence, were often premeditated, reflecting a chilling level of calculation. Dahmer's crimes went beyond the pale of even the most hardened investigators. His acts of cannibalism, a rare and deeply disturbing phenomenon in the annals of serial murder, shocked the world and cemented his place as a figure of unparalleled evil. Some experts speculate that Dahmer's cannibalism was an attempt to exert ultimate control over his victims, a means of making them a permanent part of him. Others theorize that it was a manifestation of his desire for companionship, a twisted attempt to fill the void of loneliness that consumed him. Whatever the reason, Dahmer's cannibalistic acts stand as a chilling reminder of the depravity the human mind is capable of. He admitted to consuming the hearts, livers, and biceps of some of his victims, describing the taste of human flesh as very stringy, like beef. Dahmer's matter-of-fact descriptions of these acts, devoid of remorse or emotion, sent chills down the spines of those present in the courtroom. Section 5. Beyond Comprehension: The Psychological Depths of Dahmer's Evil. Diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, schizotypal personality disorder, and a psychotic disorder, Dahmer existed in a perpetual state of internal chaos, his thoughts and desires a maelstrom of conflicting impulses. His crimes were not merely acts of violence but rather grotesque performances, carefully orchestrated rituals designed to satisfy his macabre desires. Dahmer's need for control, a common thread among serial killers, manifested in his meticulous planning and execution of his crimes. The act of killing for Dahmer was not simply about taking a life, it was about extinguishing another person's autonomy, transforming them from living, breathing individuals into objects of his perverse desires. Dahmer's inability to empathize with his victims, a hallmark of his psychopathy, allowed him to compartmentalize his actions, separating the act of killing from the human cost. In his mind, his victims were not people, but objects, dehumanized vessels for his dark fantasies. Section 6. A Society Shaken. The Impact of Dahmer's Crimes. The discovery of Jeffrey Dahmer's crimes sent shockwaves through America and beyond, leaving an indelible mark on the national psyche. The sheer brutality of his crimes, coupled with the disturbing details of his life and psyche, ignited a media frenzy, turning Dahmer into a ghoulish celebrity, a monster who both repelled and fascinated the public. His case sparked widespread debate about the nature of evil, the role of mental illness in criminal behavior, and the systemic failures that allowed his killing spree to continue for so long. Dahmer's victims, predominantly young men of color, highlighted the vulnerability of marginalized communities and the systemic biases that can allow predators to operate with impunity. The Milwaukee Police Department faced harsh criticism for their handling of the case, particularly their failure to act on multiple warning signs and their dismissive treatment of Dahmer's neighbors. The Dahmer case also fueled a national conversation about homophobia and its insidious consequences. Section 7. The Face of Pure Evil. Dahmer's Place in Criminal History. Jeffrey Dahmer's crimes transcended the boundaries of conventional criminality, placing him in a category reserved for the most depraved figures in human history. His name became synonymous with evil, his image a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks within the human heart. Unlike other serial killers who may have sought notoriety or reveled in the public sphere, Dahmer seemed indifferent to fame, his motivations rooted in a complex web of psychological dysfunction and insatiable dark desires. Dahmer's crimes forced society to confront the uncomfortable reality that monsters don't always lurk in the shadows. They can exist in plain sight, hiding behind a veneer of normalcy. His ability to blend into society, to appear unassuming and even charming at times, made his crimes all the more terrifying. It shattered the illusion that we can easily identify evil, reminding us that darkness can take root in the most unexpected places. Section 8. The Never-Ending Nightmare. The Victims and Their Families. Lost in the sensationalized headlines and the macabre fascination with Dahmer's crimes are the stories of his victims, 17 young men whose lives were tragically cut short. They were sons, brothers, friends, each with their own unique dreams, aspirations, and loved ones left behind to grapple with the unimaginable pain of their loss. Their stories serve as a poignant reminder of the human cost of Dahmer's crimes, the devastating ripple effects that extend far beyond the immediate circle of victims. For the families of Dahmer's victims, the pain of their loss is a wound that never fully heals. They live with the constant ache of absence, the knowledge that their loved ones were stolen from them in the most horrific way imaginable. The trial and subsequent media attention, while necessary for accountability and public awareness, often forced the families to relive the trauma of their loss, reopening wounds that had barely begun to heal. Section 9. Unanswered Questions. The Enigma of Jeffrey Dahmer. Even after his conviction and death, Jeffrey Dahmer remains an enigma, a chilling puzzle that continues to fascinate and perplex those who seek to understand the darkest recesses of the human psyche. Despite countless hours of interviews, psychological evaluations, and analyses of his crimes, questions linger about what ultimately drove him to commit such unspeakable acts. Was it a product of nature or nurture, a toxic cocktail of genetic predisposition, childhood trauma, and societal failings? Some experts believe that Dahmer was born with a predisposition to violence, a genetic hand dealt at birth that set him on a path toward darkness. Others argue that his upbringing, marked by emotional neglect, a dysfunctional family life, and a lack of healthy attachments, played a more significant role in shaping his psyche. Still, others point to societal factors, such as the homophobia of the era, and the easy availability of pornography, as contributing factors to his descent into madness. The truth, as is often the case with complex human behavior, likely lies somewhere in the intersection of these various factors. Section 10, The Darkness Within, a reminder of humanity's potential for evil. The dark saga of Jeffrey Dahmer stands as a chilling testament to the depths of human depravity, a stark reminder that the line separating civilization from chaos is often perilously thin. His crimes shocked the world, not merely for their brutality, but also for the glimpse they offered into the abyss of the human soul, the unsettling realization that monsters can lurk beneath the surface of even the most seemingly ordinary individuals. Dahmer's legacy extends far beyond the gruesome details of his crimes. His case serves as a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the fragility of human empathy and the ever-present potential for darkness to take root in the human heart. It compels us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves, to acknowledge the capacity for evil that resides within us all, and to strive to create a world where such horrors are less likely to occur. In the end, the story of Jeffrey Dahmer is not just about one man's descent into madness, but about the collective responsibility we share to recognize and address the societal ills that contribute to violence and despair.